Hello everybody, it's me Sam here of WoopaGaming, and today welcome to our fourth tutorial on how to develop a plugin for Bukkit. In today's episode I think we're going to be primarily focusing commands. So if you're interested in how commands work, this is what we're going to be doing today. Okay, so at the moment we have our superheat. We can toggle it on and off just by right clicking. That's the sort of limit of what we can do. In this tutorial we're going to be able to toggle the toggle ability by toggling using a command, and we're also going to add the feature of being able to toggle other players on the server with obviously permission nodes and stuff. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive in and create our new command. So we can do this on the main superheat.java. You can set it as an external class, but I suppose this tutorial we're just literally going to do it here. So we're going to create a new public boolean on command sender command cmd string label string array of string args boom, and then we're going to return true. So let's just go over what we literally just added. Let's just import these. Okay, so this is our on command. This is from our Java plugin class. Because we extend it, we sort of override it, so that whenever a command is run on the server, which is one of our commands that we've allocated, it will go through this, and we can do stuff to the command. So the first thing we want to do is create our sort of, I don't know, the command name, what we're going to do. So our /superheat. So we're going to first check that. So we're going to do if cmd.getName equals ignore case, and then we're going to type in superheat, and then, well, we can return false, and we can do like we always do, an exclamation mark. So if the command, the main slash, so if the user types in /superheat, then this will follow the code. If not, then it will just quit. Okay, so that's our first sort of start. So now that will work, but we actually need to modify our plugin.yml to add this new command. So after our author, we're going to want to add our new section for commands. So the way to do that is by doing commands, and then we're going to want, I think it's 3 spaces here, and then the actual command name, so it's superheat, and then we're going to add our description, and then we're going to toggles superheat, and then we want the usage. So this is what happens if we return false. So usage /command, and then, well, we'll just leave it as that. That's the usage. We'll just do /permission. So this is the permission node of what we're doing. So superheat.toggle will be our command permission node, and finally we'll have the permission message, and this is what the user sees when they do not have permission to do this. So you don't have permission, which is normally a good one to do. Okay, so I'm going to save that, but before we do that, let's just parse it using our YML parser just to make sure it's okay. So we need to type in YML parser, and our good old friend YML parser. So what we're going to do is just control copy and paste, and hopefully our output is all good. So link will be in the description. If you're having problems with YML and it's not all it's not loading up properly or whatever, then we can use our YML parser to make sure everything's okay. You may have seen this in, for instance, permission tutorials. I normally go on YML parser just to make sure, and it's all working. So for instance, if we did have had a space out there, so it messes up and comes all red and tells us where it is. Okay, so just note there's 3 spaces here and then 6 spaces here and so on. Okay, so that was just a little check, just make sure it works fine, and now I'm going to just hit refresh just to resync the plugin.yml as we've just done it. Okay, so now we've added our new command. We actually need to implement some sort of code to be able to use it. One thing you have to note though first is that commands can be used by the console and they can be used in-game by players. So we have to want to sort of see if the command sender is a player or a console or not. And the way we do that is by doing if sender is an instance of player, then it will this bit here, which I put to do, run command from player, and then else they're obviously from the console, and then they are, well, this is to do run from console. So here is our new if else statement. So if the sender is an instance of a player, that means they're a player on the server, then we run the command from the player. So that's what we have to do if the person that sent the command was a player, else it was run from the console, so then we have to do something else from there. So let's just do the console, well actually let's do the player bit first. So first of all, let's check to see if the player has any, well, how should we do this? So if let's just continue and let's, so if the sender is a player, let's first check to see if they have permission. So if what we should do first is create a new player. So player equals sender, and we want to cast this to our player. So what we've done in this line is that we now know that the sender is an instance of a player, and as a result we can now cast it as a player object. So player equals player sender. So now let's just check if they have permission. So player has permission superheat.toggle return, well, if the player doesn't have permission to do that, we're going to send them a nice message, or player, or let's just copy and paste it from here so we have the same sort of color scheme, and we'll change it here. You don't have permission, and then we'll just return true here. Okay, so now we know that the player has permission and they can use this command. So first of all, we're going to have the /superheat as just toggling themselves, and then if they have /superheat and then a player name, then they can toggle other users. So first of all, we need to see if the arguments they have is greater than 1. So if args.length is greater equal to 1, then they have entered something other than /superheat. They've done /superheat and then something else. So if they have entered something other than that, we first need to sort of see what that is. And the way we do that is by doing string s equals args0. We just leave in args0, but that will now get this variable s here is the string that they put after /superheat. So for instance, if I typed in /superheat torrent, then this string here, this string s, would be the string torrent. Okay? So now we're going to want to check to see if that player is on the server. So the way we do that is by doing player, we'll say target equals this dot get server dot get player, and then s, and there we go. So now that will attempt to get the player object by that name. Now if they're not on the server, this player target will just return null, and it won't return anything of use to us. So we now want to check that first. So by doing if target equals null, then we're just going to return true, but we're going to send them a message first saying player is not online. So player, and then we're just going to type in our S, is not online. So what this does now is that if they've entered something extra, so /superheat torrent, we're going to get that string S, which is be the torrent string. We're going to see if that target or that player object of the associated string name torrent is on the server. So that would attempt to get it. If that's null, then they're not on the server, and then we can just return and say they're not online. If it isn't null, then they're online, and so we can sort of toggle them or not. So what we're going to do is by doing superheat users, well actually, let's create a toggle function just so we can keep things clear. So public void toggle user player p. Now if they're in our superheat users array, then we can add them. Well, if that, we can remove them. So superheat users remove p, else we'll add them. Okay, so that will now, this is our little function. Nothing really, technically make it private. Nothing will actually run this code yet, but we need to implement it. So in our if else here, so if the target is not null, then we can toggle them. So we're going to do this dot toggle user target, and this will toggle our target player. So if we did /superheat torrent, if he's on the server, and then it will get his player object associated with that player, and then it will run toggle user, which is down here. So if he's in the list, remove him, and if he's not in the list, add him. And then let's just notify both players now. So player.send, or let's just copy and paste that, it's the easiest way. And then player S has been toggled. And now we notify the target as well by doing target send message color red sh, and then chat color yellow. You have been told. Interesting statement to hear, but there you go. So now we've told both of them, well, the one target player on and off. We've notified both players that it has happened. Maybe on this one we can add the name of the player we have who toggled them, for instance. So we have toggled by, and then we just do player.getName, and that will tell them what player. But we're just going to leave it as that. And that bit there, basically, if they have more than one argument, then it will toggle that player on and off. So if they don't have any arguments, and then literally just did /superheat, then we're just going to literally just toggle that user itself. So we're just going to do this toggle user player, and then we're just going to just copy this here. Well, just copy this bit here, and then just do player here, player.sendMessage, you have been toggled. So there we go. That bit there, if they're a player and they just run the command, then it first checks to see if they have permission to do that. Else, if they have more than one argument, so /superheat, say samkio, and it'll toggle samkio, else it'll just toggle themselves. Now that's if they're a player. We also need to take into account if they're not a player, if they're a console. So let's just simply do that. We're just not going to write too much. We could implement a way where if they have more than one argument, they could toggle other players, but we'll just keep it simple. We'll literally just do send message. You need to be a player to run this command, and that'll just tell the console that they can't use this command. Okay, so there we go. We've added some a sort of command system here. It's a very basic one. Obviously you can extend this, and you're going to have lots of commands. It might be nicer to have this in a separate class. For the rest of the tutorial, it gives you a good idea of what the commands do. The main things you want is the command get name and the sender, and obviously the arguments. So yeah, so we'll export that, and let's have a look on the console. Finish. That was good. Let's go on the console. So if we reload, and then we do /superheat, it gives us some information. You need to be a player to run this command. So that's fantastic. That's what we want. So let's go in game and see if our toggle command works. Hello everybody, welcome back to our in-game part. We're going to see if our command system we just added works. So let's just toggle it off with our right click. So we've been toggled off. So now we're just going to /superheat, and it says you've been toggled. So now when I destroy blocks, I get stone again. You can see now I've toggled it off, and I right click, toggles it off again. So our /superheat works. Let's try /superheat and then with a player name. So superheat will say notch, for instance. Oh, player notch is not online, so he's not on the server at the moment, which is understandable. So now let's do someone else. So superheat Samkio, for instance. So obviously I'm online, so I can toggle myself, I guess. So this first bit here tells the toggler. So superheat player Samkio has been toggled, which is me. So it's toggled me on and off. And then it also tells the user itself you've been toggled. So now when I destroy stuff, I get stone. If I do that again, I get coal. So our command system works. We tried it from the console too, and that was fine. So that's our basic command system. So obviously you can extend that further. You can have different parameters. You can add different permission nodes for different players. Maybe you want them to be able to do /superheat to toggle themselves, but not other players, and you might have 2 different permission nodes to do that. And obviously you can implement that to your desire. Okay, so that's the in-game part. I hope next time we can go over the configuration. So see you in the next episode.